What up? If you're watching this video, and that's because you're an artist and you're curious about getting your songs heard, and a little dark side and a little truth about Spotify. So, like I said, Spotify is like a dark side, also got a positive side for emerging and independent artists. But the things that I do not like, the top 5 things I don't like about Spotify, we're gonna go through this, is matter of fact, let's dive right into it. The royalty rates for musicians is peanuts. This is a big one. Spotify's royalty rates are notoriously low, with artists receiving a fraction of a penny per stream. To put this in perspective, you might need millions of streams to earn even the modest income for independent and emerging artists. This model makes it incredibly tough to sustain a career from Spotify. So that means if you're not signed under a big label, Universal, or Motown, or something big that got some money behind it, you're not going to see a penny. You're not going to really see too much anything. Is if, like I said, a million streams, you probably only get paid out $500. You know what I mean? So as a small artist compared to a major mainstream artist that doesn't have over a million followers or a hit single, you're not really going to see too much of anything. You're not going to be able to live off your career. And number two, the things I don't like about Spotify is the algorithm, the overloads. So listen to this. Spotify algorithms plays a huge role in determining what music gets heard. While it can be a powerful tool for discovery, it can also feel like a black box with a little transparency of how a playlist are curated or why some songs get pushed more than others. This can be especially frustrating for artists who feel their music is getting lost in the shuffle. So you go into the studio, you get rich engineer, you're up all night and all day. Some people take months to write a song, and to figure out it doesn't get the love that it gets. It doesn't get pushed to the right algorithms. It doesn't go to the right curators, and some of you guys may put money towards it. So it has really nothing to do with your music. It just the overload. It's just the algorithm overload to the point where it just randomly pushing your song somewhere else. So like I said, the dark side about Spotify is too many people, or too many artists are. It just became an overload. You know what I mean? It just really what it is. It really just became a overload. Now check this out. My third thing, playlists. The new gatekeepers. Landing on the popular Spotify playlist can be a game changer, exposing. Excuse me.
Take medication. This is a reminder. Take medication.
Excuse me. That's a reminder for my father to take his medication. But anyways, so number 3, playlists. The new gatekeepers. Landing on a popular Spotify playlist can be a game changer, exposing music to massive audience, but getting there is no easy feat. With creators wielding immense power, it can feel like an uphill battle, especially for independent artists who may not have the connections or the resources to their music noticed. So this is a very big one, a very big one, because like I said, playlisting. It's the gatekeeper, and so some of these people are sitting at the top of the tier, top of the food chain when it comes down to playlisting is the relationships. You don't have the resources. You don't. Matter of fact, they want $1,000 for you to be number one on for a week. So it's like a lot of artists, independent artists, that is, are struggling to pay the rent, struggling to get by. But yet here you are. You want people or artists or managers or record labels who are trying to get their labels off the ground to even to make money back. Now, let's just say you put so much money into campaigns, putting so much money in studios, but for you to make some money back, you need to get on these playlists. So therefore, for you to even get a guaranteed slot on these playlists, you're going to have to put up some money, or you're going to submit. And submitting takes weeks for them to get back to you. Like I said, playlisting is the new play push, what is it, boost collectives, like stuff like that, which is pretty cool. And like I said, no way, shape, way, and form I'm not sponsored by them, but these are facts. You know what I mean? Part of the reason why I really don't making my revenue off of Spotify or Apple. I literally sell directly to. So that means I got my own website and I push my own music directly to my fans. So my fans don't have to wait for a drop date. They can, if I say I'm dropping it today, it's going to drop today. You know what I mean? If they can easily download it to whatever devices that they're using, and they can have it forever. Album cover, whatever they need, it's all together, and it's on their devices forever. So, like I said, maybe artists and business people are in the business of the industry should really think of other ways or revenues of how to make money other than just getting streams off Spotify. You know what I mean? So it's just as music grows, also the sources and platforms have to grow with it as well. Because, like I said, getting on a playlist is very difficult. Let's just be honest, very very difficult if you're not backed up by a major label. Getting on those major rap caviars, R&B acts, and whatever it may be is going to be literally impossible if you don't have the connections. So, like I said, these gatekeepers are gatekeepers. So there's, like I said, the downfall of Spotify. Why I feel like I will never really care to put music back on Spotify than what I have now. I love selling directly to the source, like directly to my people, directly to the consumers. I don't like the fact that I gotta wait for weeks to see if I can get my, you know, it's just a lot. Anyways, number three, the value of pro post position, meaning is music becoming devalued? The ease of affordability of streaming service have undeniably changed up people's consuming music, but some argue that there is convenience comes at a cost, with music becoming devalued in the eyes of the consumers when a playlist offers endless streams of music for small monthly fees. It can be harder for artists to convince listeners to invest in their albums or merchandise. See, and this is what I'm saying. It's getting to the point where music is getting devalued because as an artist, we want to get our music to as many consumers as possible. I'm not hating on anybody that's trying to make money and wanting to make money, but it is becoming difficult. The music is getting devalued after I done put in X amount of hours in the studio getting these songs right, and then I finally got them on Spotify, and now I got to go through these loops of trying to figure out how I can get them in the playlist. But not only did I put up some money, have I spent maybe $300 or $400 or $500 in getting my EP done, but now I got to sit up here and put up another, depending on how bad I want to get a playlist, just to see a fraction of a penny. So if I spend $500, I know for a fact I'm not going to make my money back, especially if I'm paying the top creators, the gatekeepers of Spotify to get me on these playlists. That's going to generate some streams. So realistically, if I don't even crack over 100K streams, I'm ass out of money. I just lost $500, and we all know a fraction of a penny on a stream. That's not even going to really. I'm not really gonna get none of my money back. I'm losing money at this point. So for me to do what I love, and I mean, everyone wants to get paid for doing what they love, but at this point, at this cost of it, I really don't see how small artists are going to make any profit into this, because, like I said, they're offering just to get your songs on there. Especially if you want to be on one of the top playlists, it's going to cost a couple, maybe $1,000. So a couple $1,000, I need to guarantee that you're gonna spin my song a million times, so I can make my money back. But also they say, once the money's been, and now someone, once the money gets exchanged, that's just what it is. And it brings me to my next point: the data dilemma. Who owns your fans? Spotify collects a wealth of data or listeners' preferences, but artists often have limited access to the valuability information. This can make it difficult to understand your audience, target, or marketing efforts, or build direct relationships with fans. So is Spotify all bad? And to me, is Spotify all bad? Mm, not necessarily. It's a powerful platform with potential to reach a global audience, but it is critical for artists to go in with realistic expectations and diversity of their income of streams. Don't put all your eggs in the Spotify basket. Explore alternative platforms, build a strong online presence, and focus on cultivating a loyal fan base that will support you beyond the stream. What are your experiences with Spotify as an artist or listener? Share your thoughts in the comments below. So, like I said, in the comments below, please share your thoughts as a listener or as an artist. But like I said, as another key, I want you guys, an artist, ladies and gentlemen, I really want you guys to really build your own websites and start selling directly to your own fan base. As an artist, I'm telling you, you don't need Apple Music, you don't need Spotify. You know, all you need is a website. You need social media. You got TikTok, you got Facebook, you got Instagram, you got all these other outlets. You know, that YouTube that allows you to showcase your talent beyond just the audio. And it's like we're in 2026. So if we're going to elevate the music industry, well, let's elevate it. Now we are streaming. We're streaming with music. We're in the studio. Our fans are seeing the process of us in the studio and making these hit songs. So all the way into the behind the scenes of the videos. So the videos hit the platform. We're elevating. So again, do we really need Apple Music and Spotify? I say no. But then there's a world that just wants audio, and there's a world who loves video. You know, but coincidentally, they can actually exist all at one time. But the thing is, are the Spotify gatekeepers are really getting a little too greedy for artists to even want to put their music up there anymore on their platform. AI is getting a little, out of control when it comes down to AI music, which they're controlling, dominating Spotify playlists at this point. And it's a point to where I'm really at a point where I don't, when I upload my music to distribution companies, I actually do not click to distribute through DSP on Spotify. It just for honestly, I don't really see a point. It doesn't really a fraction of a penny. Like, bro, do you know how much money I spend just to make a song that you're only going to give me a fraction of a penny? So I usually only upload my music to the platforms that pay artists accordingly and appreciate, like I said, a fraction of a stream. That's crazy. There's platforms like Apple that pay like over $1 per 100 streams. But you're telling me a fraction of a penny. It's kind of insulting to, especially to someone who has a family, who's putting a lot of money into their career, and just to hit over 50K streams, and maybe and only out of 50K streams, that's only $50. Like, bro, like, come on. Even 100K is $100. So it's like I'm kind of like, and then for me to actually see $1,000 or more, I gotta hit 1 million. Doesn't make any sense to me. So leave your comments below. I actually want to hear from you artists, producers, listeners. Like, is Spotify really worth it at this point? And now that these playlists are definitely gatekeepers, is like, and then the possibility, and if I was to want to spend money on a playlist, will I even get enough spins to make my money back? So it's like, as music evolves, it also gets getting devalued. So it's literally one of those things where, as an artist, you're gonna have to think as a businessman or businesswoman as well. Can't just be an artist. You got to actually figure out what makes sense, and doesn't if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense. So, what's the rush of running and getting these songs done just to uploading? You're spending money for these songs, bro. Okay, and you're uploading them, and they're free. They're free. After spent almost let's say $100 an hour in the studio, it took you about 4 or 5. You spent $500 just to get this record done, but you're uploading it, and it all depends who you go to upload. Your distribution company, you got to pay them too, just for you to get free spins and then a fraction of a penny. I don't know about you, but I'm not in this to be for free. So why am I going to upload my music to a platform that doesn't even give a fuck about artists? I care for myself, so I got my own website. So if the world or the mass wants to know who King Gunna is, all you gotta go to is www.kinggunna.com. www.kinggunna.com. It's that simple. I will never tell them go find me on Spotify or on Apple. Go to my website, kinggunna.com. So maybe this year, for artists out there, you should really not only reconstruct your financial, but also reconstruct your rollouts when you guys are doing your music and you want to give them to the masses. Be more creative about other ways to do it. Take a different approach, because there's more than just Spotify out there. There's more than just SoundCloud out there. There's a lot more ways. Before there was even internet, we were selling them out the trunk of a cars and CDs. You know what I mean? So it's like the evolution of this industry is definitely evolving. Now we're streaming. We're video streaming and making music and performing music over our phones. So in reality, to me, Spotify and Apple Music is kind of really outdated. YouTube is king. Not only do you get your audio, but you can get visuals. It's everything in one. Everything in one. So this is where This is where my platform is. This is where my platform relies. This is where my loyalty relies. Is YouTube. So all my people that want to support my music, again, here's where it starts. And for those who want to follow these footsteps, like I said, I did an accurate study about this, about the dark side of Spotify. Everything that I went through, I've researched this for about over 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So this information is definitely key. Is definitely real. And it's not just certain people that are doing music and then getting discouraged because they're not getting the streams, they're not getting playlists. It's just set up like that. It's literally just set up for your music to go up there and do absolutely nothing. So the odds of getting on these big ass playlists without knowing the gatekeepers is very slim to none. It's slim to none. Unless you go through Boost Collectives, which they can probably pitch your stuff to on fake, which I kind of think is fake, it's fake, probably playlists that they created, and they just loop your music and keep going, but is actually reaching the mass? Are you getting those plays? But for a fraction of a penny, why would I go through all that just to get a fraction of a penny, though? It just doesn't make sense to me. So this is an educational video for artists who are definitely into music and distributing their music. Is literally distribute your music to the platforms that's actually paying. That's actually Title pays good. Title pays a little good money for artists. Like literally push those platforms that actually give a fuck about the artists. They care for the artists because the money shows. I believe they paid $3 per, I think $3 a stream, something like that. Like they pay some good money. But everyone was so hyped up on Spotify, bro. Spotify is, nah, to me, it's old. Ain't no one, hey man, put on that, bro, jump on Spotify. I see people going to Apple Music. I see people jumping to YouTube. I hardly see anybody talking about Spotify. I believe Spotify is becoming a dead era. And I truly believe by the end of 2028, no one's really going to care about Spotify. YouTube's going to be bigger than ever. Apple Music, of course, is going to be bigger than ever. Because you got movies on these platforms, bro. Spotify ain't got no goddamn movies. You know what I mean? So everything's coming down to. I even think Twitch is going to end up doing something when it comes down to, music. Kick might end up doing something when it comes down to music, because this is where it's all going to go. And I don't think Spotify can even have anything to offer. So it's really becoming to that point when it's only facts. It's literally only facts. I'm not hating on Spotify. I just don't really see its purpose, especially with all the AI music now. So it's like, especially how many people that came forward that worked with Spotify, that actually worked for them, talking about how they got so many technicians and so many programmers that are literally programming AIs to literally dominate their playlist so they can keep all the money. Like, dude, like they were never for the purpose. They're greedy as fuck. They're greedy fucks. And I definitely don't want my music up there. So, like I said, the little bit of music that I do have, kudos, you can have that. But I will not be uploading or even checking to distribute through that outlet, through that platform anymore. My songs will no longer be on Spotify because they are a ripoff and they do not care for artists. And so if you really do want to get down and you want to hear my music, go to my webpage. Go to my website. You can either listen to the radio or you can either download the songs you like. Or you download the whole album. So selling directly to the consumer, that's the new way to make money. Deals are burnt out. You don't need record deals no more. All you need is a solid studio, a solid engineer, and a solid producer that's gonna rock with you. And everything else, you gotta make it happen on your own. So for this year, I really hope that you artists, producers, anybody just trying to run a record label, understand the platform from what they really are. And when you understand these platforms, you'll figure out your way how to move and maneuver through them. So again, my advice to you guys, fraction of a penny. Are you worth a penny? Is your art worth a penny? So if they're not paying you for at least $1 or more, don't upload your music to them. Don't even waste your time with them. you know. So again, does anybody experience any bad things about Spotify? Please leave a comment below. I'll be honored to read and comment back on your comments. And please like and share for all you artists out there. Sell directly to consumers. And again, like, subscribe, and share. And I'll be tapping in with you guys again. Later, tribe.